In fact, with protests raging on for nearly 13 days straight, demonstrators in Iran have targeted symbols of the Islamic regime across the country. Government buildings, security vehicles, mosques and symbols of the regime have been vandalized and set ablaze by protesters. Let's in fact take you through some of the key establishments that have been targeted over here. So you can look at that on your screens. We have the first image of the Islamic regime which has been torched. This is the Qasem Soleimani statue in Fars district and the statue of the deceased head of the IRGC's Quds force in his hometown. Remember why his entire statue is being burnt? You can look at those visuals, entirely set ablaze. Qasem Soleimani was a very important person and he was considered the right-hand man of Khamenei. So that's why people right now want to overthrow the Khamenei government, and hence his statue has been targeted by these protesters. So that's the first symbol that the protesters are trying to take down. Next, when we look at this is Iran Shahr, where Khomeini and Khamenei statue, this is a dual statue of the first and current supreme leaders, Khomeini and Khamenei. Both the statues have now been demolished, has now been taken down by the people. They have set it on fire as well. Obviously, they are against the theocracy. They want this government to topple. They want a new government. In fact, they want the monarchy where the Shahs of Iran were actually ruling before 1979 to come and take over, maybe an interim government also. But this is what is happening on the ground. One after the other, symbols of the Islamic regime are being taken down. This dual statue also destroyed by the protesters. Let's look at this next symbolic image. This was the Islamic regime's symbol. This is there on Iran's flag as well, this symbol that you can see on the flag of Iran. Now this sculpture has been completely taken out. It has been taken out by the protesters on a truck over here. You can see them removing it from where it was placed and then taking it in the truck or the heavy vehicle. And remember that now as well, people are raising the flag which does not have this symbol. It has the lion and the sun. So they are in support of the monarchy, and over here the symbol of the Islamic regime, because this was changed after 1979 when the theocracy took over, and they have changed this. Now Sadat Abad, or the Masjid al-Rasul, one of the many mosques that have been targeted by the protesters in Iran. So this also has been set ablaze. You can look at those visuals on your screens. It's a symbol of theocracy that's currently there in Iran, and people and protesters have set it on fire. So those visuals on your screens as well. And lastly, government buildings as well. The government building complex in eastern Tehran also set on fire by the protesters. You can look at them cheering because they think that they are destroying these symbols of the Islamic regime through these protests. Joining us on the broadcast is Ambassador KP Fabian, former diplomat. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on the broadcast. A very good morning to you. Ambassador, if I can come to you with these symbols of the Islamic regime that the protesters have now targeted. They are protesting, they are raising flags of the monarchy with the lion and the sun, but they are also taking down all the symbols that were present and that reminded them of the theocracy, of the rule that has been there in Iran since 1979, sir.
Thank you. Good morning. Well, you referred to 1979 and theocracy. I was there in our embassy as first secretary, 76, 79, and a good many young Iranians who had studied in the West, engineers or managers, used to come to me asking for a copy of the Indian Constitution because they wanted an Indian type of polity, democracy there in Iran. Unfortunately, they did not succeed, and Ayatollah Khomeini, with his supreme leader, without any sort of meaningful democracy, took over. But I want to make one point clear. It is true that the situation is very serious, and a lot of distraction is being caused by the demonstrators who are setting fire to buildings and all that. Well, in the 79 revolution, there was hardly any sort of setting fire to buildings, except there were some I had witnessed. But that was done, and this is the point I want to make it clear. That was done with the tacit cooperation of the security agencies. That is, demonstrators will go and throw Molotov cocktails, and building will come down. But as soon as it comes down, the security forces will come closer, and the demonstrators will run away to their next target. In other words, there was a tacit understanding. Now, I do not know, and I doubt whether there is any such tacit understanding now. And from reports what I hear, the establishment and the security forces are still till now supporting the Ayatollah. So we might, I hope not, we might come across a situation where there is a civil war with the rivers of blood. Let us hope it will not happen. But American intelligence, according to reports published in the United States, have concluded that the fall of the regime is not imminent. And President Trump, of course, he has mentioned more than once that he would intervene. But the latest statement which I saw from him says that this is not the time for him to meet with Reza Shah, the son of the Shahin Shah, who was there when I was there. And Reza Shah is somewhere in Washington or close by. So Trump also is waiting. In fact, American strategy seems to wait for more and more confrontation, distraction, more and more people getting killed and all that. And then they might or might not strike. Or they can just sit and watch. It is very, very wicked. It's very, very cruel. And above all, it's very, very sad to see what is happening in Iran, and especially to the people of Iran.
Absolutely, sir. In fact, you've mentioned the tacit understanding that happened in 1979. It's all right. Thank you so much, Ambassador, for joining us on the broadcast and providing us with those valuable insights. With that, we are wrapping up this bulletin.